The global bar scene has never been hotter, from Miami to Singapore and everywhere in between. Our mission? To search for the ultimate venue to tip back a beer and boogie. So with an Uber supply of morning after coffee at the ready, UberGuide is here to count down the world's top 10 legendary bars. With some of the hottest clubs in the United States, Las Vegas is where America goes to let loose and party. With such a laissez-faire attitude, Sin City attracts some wild and sensuous characters. And there's only one place they can be found in all together: the Coyote Ugly Saloon, UberGuide's number 10 pick. This place is home to the wildest bash in town. Coyote Ugly is known for being rude, crude, and downright sexy.
Coyote Ugly is a crazy party place. It's like a glorified fraternity party, I suppose. We like to get the customers, all the women up to dance. It's a huge crowd participation bar. Just like to have fun. People that like to listen to rock and roll, like to rock out, they like to party and have a good time. It's just way more mellow, casual.
They definitely chose a unique name for the bar.
Well, the name originated from the idea that it's when you get so drunk that you wake up the next day and the person that you wake up next to is so ugly that you want to just gnaw your arm off to get away from them.
Most people have heard of Coyote Ugly because of the Hollywood movie of the same name made about it. Its popularity has translated into locations throughout the U.S.
Started as a bar called Hogs and Heifers. The girls are beautiful, but they're like badass biker chicks that would beat you up, you know? The concept for the movie was a little bit more sexy women.
It's the Coyote girls that really keep this bar humming.
We are in control of the bar here. You get to be a woman with power. It's a lot different than working at other jobs in Vegas, where you have to be like, no ma'am, sorry ma'am, excuse me. We're not like that. We are what we are. We're real girls.
The girls also have some pretty nice dance moves. You can see them busting a beat just about anywhere in the bar.
Everyone's trained dancers. We have girls that have worked all over Vegas in shows. Some of the girls sing. We stomp, we clap, we do jazz, kind of like sexy, girly routines. A little of everything. And it's a lot different than performing on stage because you're right there and you have to entertain them while they're just staring at you. So it's fun.
If you want to let it all hang out, then you can't go wrong spending a little time here.
Vegas is a key place for anybody who's celebrating something big. We do get a lot of bachelorette parties, a lot of bachelor parties, birthdays, everything. And we definitely encourage people to get out of control. Most people don't leave here sober.
Coyote Ugly Saloon, where absolutely anything goes. And because it's party central for clubbers looking to blow off some steam, it's also UberGuide's number 10 pick on our countdown of legendary bars. We now head north to one of the largest cities in America. Chicago is famous for the Sears Tower, the wind howling off Lake Michigan, and the blues, the Chicago Blues.
Chicago is really the home of the electric blues. We have a world-class blues festival. The city itself really likes to showcase music.
And the best place to hear this great music? Buddy Guy's Legends, number 9 on our Uber list. Buddy Guy is a music icon. There isn't much this guy hasn't done.
Buddy Guy is a blues legend, 5-time Grammy-winning Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. He's really one of the biggest Chicago celebrities. He's also the mentor of many greats like Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, huge guitar greats.
A connoisseur of great tunes, Buddy decided to open his own blues bar. From day one, Buddy Guy's Legends has been one of the finest clubs of its kind in the world.
Buddy opened the club in 1989 to keep the blues alive because he believes that without clubs, you might not discover up-and-coming musicians. It's owned by Buddy himself, who is extremely hands-on. When he's in town, he sits at the bar and he talks to patrons. He'll sign T-shirts and have a drink with you.
With all of Buddy's music connections, the bar's stage has seen some huge acts spin a little magic.
You never know who's gonna walk in. The Stones have walked in and done an impromptu set. John Mayer has been here, Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and we've also had Eric Clapton do a 3-night stint.
The walls are covered in Buddy's music memorabilia. It's a virtual museum honoring the greats of blues, jazz, and rock and roll.
You'll see a huge amount of memorabilia. You'll see Grammys and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame statue, and you'll see pictures of him with David Bowie, Buddy with Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan the night that Stevie died in an accident. Credit cards that belong to Muddy Waters. It's there, you can touch it, it's really tangible, and it's really special.
Plus, there's a wicked guitar collection.
Buddy always has his friends sign the guitars, so you'll find Eric Clapton's guitar, Santana's, B.B. King's, Stevie Ray Vaughan, his brother Jimmy. It's pretty cool.
The bar serves up some pretty stiff drinks, sure to get you in the mood to bust loose.
We have bartenders who love to make their own special martinis.
We want you to put your hands together like this and help me sing this song. Is it all right with you?
We're from Brighton in England. We're here because we're great fans of the blues, and we just wanted to come and soak up some of the atmosphere, find out what it's all about. It's called Legends. It is a legend club.
Great drinks, fantastic music, and an amazing music museum. Buddy Guy's Legends is the only reason you need for a trip to the Windy City. Plus, Legends is now legendary. Buddy Guy's, ÜberGuide's 9th pick on our countdown of legendary bars. Coming up next, the coolest bar in the world, and we're not exaggerating. ÜberGuide is back, counting down the world's top 10 legendary bars. Before the break, we witnessed the carousing at Coyote Ugly and checked out the tunes at Buddy Guy's Legends. We now go Euro style. London. This was the center of the universe back when the sun never set on the British Empire. Britain isn't nearly as influential anymore, but London still is. For many, it continues to be the global hub, which means this city is packed with some of the hottest nightclubs in the world. And along with the hot, definitely comes the cold. The very cold, in fact. Absolute Ice Bar London. Number 8 on our Uber countdown. And the only night spot in town that guarantees you'll have a cool time. Modeled after the Ice Hotel in Sweden's Lapland, the Ice Bar is unique in the nightclub world. The temperature is kept at 5 degrees below zero year-round.
People are always intrigued. I mean, it's a crazy idea. It's an ice bar, you know? I mean, who wouldn't want to see an ice bar?
Designer thermal wear is provided at the door.
You have to wear a cape when you go into the ice bar to protect not just you from the cold, but also the ice from your body warmth. Cameraman first. Here we go. You have a lot of people in the ice bar. Your body heat, combined body heat, might start melting the ice bar. This is where we make all the drinks. And as you can see, it's made solidly of ice. All the ice that we use is river ice. It is literally carved out of a frozen river in the middle of winter with chainsaws. And something that is very, very unique, this wonderful ice wall. It's compressed snow and ice. The offcuts, or the stuff that comes off a chainsaw or a chisel when you're making ice art, it feels and looks quite fantastic.
The Ice Bar changes themes every 6 months. This time around, it's the bling, baby. Everything has a jewelry theme.
Every 6 months, we make a new ice bar, and it's a completely different room. We have large ice jewels and jeweled columns, all the facets of the ice. An ice table, again, a bit like a rough diamond, That's what we're trying to recreate here. And here we have a couple of display windows, and you can see bits of their jewelry inside.
But this is a bar, and as hip as that jewelry may be, you're here to drink, and you'd better like vodka.
They're all vodka-based. You can actually get more flavors out of the vodka when it's cold. A really nice vodka should be kept at like -degrees. I don't know, I don't think anyone in the world likes a warm vodka.
Cold drinks belong in a very cold glass.
These are the glasses that the drinks are made of. Again, it's all natural, river ice. It's all very clear, very pure.
Cold, but it's good. It's a bit different. She keeps on eating her glass. So.
I keep trying to eat it. I just want to bite a great chunk out of it.
The air conditioning system here works plenty of overtime, which creates some unique problems.
Because if there's only juice in there, it takes about 10 minutes and it's already frozen.
And what kind of crowd hits a joint like this?
It's just very random. I mean, you can get anything from families to celebrities to anything can walk through that door, you never know.
I just came in here and he was like, do you know where you're going? And I just looked straight ahead and it was like ice, but I'm like, maybe you should have told me to wear some shoes.
Fifth kind of ice thing I've been before, and this is the best I've been to. Fantastic, absolutely super.
Regional place, we could say. I've been here a couple of times, and I like it. If you miss the cold weather in the summer, why not?
Everyone says, wow, that was cool. Well, yes, yeah. That's the idea, yeah.
You've likely been sun-kissed, but have you ever been ice-kissed?
I think that you could get romantic if you had a few vodkas in here.
It's only one of the many ways to stay warm at the Absolute Ice Bar, London. ÜberGuide's number 8 pick on our list of legendary bars. Our search for the hippest bars now takes us across the English Channel to the heartland of Europe. Founded way back in the year 1158, for centuries, Munich has been the center of commerce for southern Germany. And many of those dollars filtering into the city have been exchanged for a sip of some brew. Munich is full of fabulous beer halls and beer gardens. Oktoberfest, the city's festival that revolves around the consumption of the strong stuff, is the world's largest fair.
Bavarian beer culture is important to me, as it means being relaxed, sit down, have a beer in a beer garden area, nice trees, and enjoy a lovely drink.
The Hofbrauhaus is one of Munich's oldest breweries, with a history that can be traced back to the 16th century. The building it's currently housed in was built in 1897. Nearly completely destroyed during the Second World War, it's now fully restored and is one of the city's most popular beer halls. Despite this German affection for beer, the most famous tavern in town is undoubtedly Schumann's American Bar. This is where the best cocktails in Europe are perfected on a daily basis, which is why it's number 7 on ÜberGuide's countdown.
That is one of the great bars in Europe, and a place, if you're going to Munich, you really shouldn't miss. Just go in and have a gin and tonic and people watch.
There are very few bars left in the world that can trace their success to a single personality, and Schumann's is one of them.
What really makes this place special is Charlie Schumann, who runs the bar, has run it for years, and is a charismatic, magnetic personality who is always there, who's just the consummate host, always welcoming, no matter who you are. You could be a supermodel, or you could be just off the plane from Des Moines, and he's going to be charming and delightful to you.
People come here because they have waiters here, they have me here almost every night, and they know we take care.
Charlie Schumann has become a top barman, in part because of the famous books he's written.
I'm very proud because my bar Bible, we sold I don't know how many thousands of books in America.
Schumann is viewed as one of the best mixologists anywhere. His cocktail rules are used extensively in nightclubs throughout the world.
This is the drink which made Schumann's famous. Ice again, fresh lemon juice. This is lime juice. Gin or vodka? I personally prefer gin. You have to shake it very, very hard. And you should drink it immediately because a drink which stays more than a minute tastes lousy.
Celebrities flock to Schumann's to see and be seen.
In a good bar, it's very important that you have celebrities, but it's more important that celebrities could go in bars and are not disturbed.
The staff here are hand-picked by Schumann himself.
We have no people working only a couple of hours. No people think, says, this is a job, this is not a job, this is my profession.
I went into the Schumann's, I think, the first time when I was 12 years old. With my father.
Schumann's is so well known because of Charles, because of his personality.
There ain't many other bars with an atmosphere like this.
So, for a place to soak up the ambience and watch the best mixologist in the drink biz shake it up, Schumann's American Bar is the place to go. It's also number 7 on ÜberGuide's Tavern Countdown.
Good. Thank you, John.
Coming up, beachside bars crank up the cool factor. And later, the number 1 legendary spot to down a cocktail. Stick around. ÜberGuide is counting down the hippest, most happening legendary bars on the planet. So far, we've seen some hot bods, listened to some great music, froze our butts off, and learned from a cocktail master. Let's see where we're off to next. Throughout the last couple of decades, Miami's South Beach has reclaimed its Art Deco history and neon style, both of which had been neglected for many years. This renaissance has turned the area into one of the coolest places on Earth. The fresh vibe, beautiful people, and festive ocean action mesh together to create a party atmosphere for the ages.
Miami Beach is really where all the action is. Bars and clubs. Miami Beach and South Beach is the best.
People come here to party, people come here to, enjoy the sun, enjoy the beach, and, just have a cool time.
Fueling the party? Literally dozens and dozens of the hottest nightclubs in the world. A bar like Set is a great place to check out those sexy bodies or even catch a glimpse of a celebrity or two.
Set is one of the most gorgeous clubs on South Beach. The decor is amazing. They have crystal chandeliers. Everything is just perfect. And they have the most beautiful chic crowd there. It's definitely one of the hot spots.
You have to have the right image. Models, beautiful people, guy, girls that are very well-dressed, very trendy, the confident people. You have to be able to afford to come in here. We have clients that come in and spend $50,000, $60,000 a night without blinking.
Very trendy, very nice. You need to know the right people to get in. It brings out the elite folks in Miami.
Kobe Club is another hip hotspot primed for regular star sightings.
Your steps from the beach, perfect location, really historical, exquisite, upscale atmosphere.
We consider Kobe luxe steakhouse, the best meat and seafood that money could buy, very, very high end. The clientele that we attract, a lot of celebrities, a lot of sports players, very, very, very high-end clientele.
People come to be seen here. It's got the high-end ambience that will attract the stars and the glitter.
But for those in search of the ultimate hangout, there's one that simply can't be missed. Bed, number 6 on our Uber Bar Countdown. This is South Beach's primo joint, a club that's redefined what it means to jump into the sack.
It's this quiet-looking space with huge futons.
When the food is served, it comes in a large plate, so you're kind of eating in bed like you would at home. It's really romantic. It's kind of a favorite for couples, especially ones proposing or special birthday parties, bachelorette parties. It's an intimate setting that starts at dinner.
What's even more cool is they clear up all the dishes and it becomes a club. And this is where people party. This is where you think the champagne bottles are being uncorked, you think someone won the World Series.
You're just kind of engulfed in a sea of private beds where you never know. One day I turned my head and I saw Janet Jackson and Missy Elliott sitting next to me.
People come here to be seen. They come here to get their picture taken. So it's kind of the place to be seen and be seen with the right people.
You have to be on the guest list or else they'll turn you away at the velvet rope.
Amazing atmosphere, great music, a lot of beautiful people having a good time.
The music is nice, the people is good, everything is really amazing.
It's a party place. So if you want good food, great cocktails with a funky atmosphere, that is where you want to go.
We're always talked about. We're always in all the great magazines and all the great papers. We're Bed, and we're here.
Bed, the only club in Miami that offers such a unique horizontal experience. Plus, it's ÜberGuide's #6 pick on our countdown of legendary bars. We now jet halfway around the world to the Southeast Asian city-state of Singapore. An Uber metropolis bursting at the seams with activity, it's a unique blend of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and Arab cultures. The Brits can claim responsibility for laying the foundations of modern Singapore, as it was once a British Crown colony. A few vestiges of English heritage still remain, and likely the most famous is Raffles Hotel, founded back in 1887.
I lived in Singapore for 9 months. The Raffles Hotel was my signature stop. That's where I wanted to go. It's a great place to go and hang. It's beautiful. It's quintessential Singapore. It's got a great history.
Raffles Hotel been in Singapore for almost 120 years. It's a national monument, right? Singapore's national monument. A lot of famous personalities have been here. Very historical.
Within the walls of this grand colonial hotel is Long Bar, the #5 pick on our super bar list.
When you go there, you feel as if you've stepped back in time and you are sitting on a British colonial veranda, sipping your cocktail.
It's a terrific environment. Whenever I have visitors from out of town, I always bring them to the Long Bar here, particularly if it's their first time to Singapore.
It's very British, very dark teak woods. It's very beautiful. The bar and billiard room is considered the connoisseur's haven. Cuban cigars, exotic chocolates, martinis, cognacs, anything that your little connoisseur's heart desires is there for you at the bar.
It's very old-fashioned, relaxing, very down-to-earth, where you can come, have some drinks, you know, just relax your mind.
The atmosphere in Long Bar certainly can't be beat. And maybe the biggest reason why is because it's where the Singapore sling was invented.
It's highly alcoholic. It's an interesting combination of gin, cherry brandy, and bitters, and many, many other things, which you should have at least once in your life.
Invented in the early 20th century by a famous bartender, Ngiam Tong Boon.
It's a perfect drink for a good tropical afternoon in Singapore. And it's really lovely on the balcony here at Raffles to have a Singapore sling.
I had one too many slings over the time I was there, so just be careful with those Singapore slings. They're pretty naughty.
And while you're tipping back a Singapore sling, be sure to grab a bowl of peanuts. Just watch your step afterwards. The trash can is the floor.
It's one of the busiest bars in Singapore. This is the only place in Singapore where you can really litter, you know, the peanut shells. The experience, the ambience, it's one of a kind.
The tradition at Long Bar is palpable, which is why Raffles Hotel built a museum to showcase the establishment's rich heritage. In 1902, the last remaining wild tiger in Singapore was reputedly shot and killed within the hotel, with some claiming it actually died in Long Bar. Whether the story is true or just a myth concocted by patrons hopped up on one too many Singapore slings, we'll never know. But what we know for sure is that Long Bar's famous cocktail lineage and fascinating history both combine to make it #5 on ÜberGuide's legendary bar countdown.
Singapore sling.
After the break, the home of the world's top bartender. Get ready to ring up the tab next. Welcome back. We are on the hunt for the world's top Uber legendary bars. Our journey so far has taken us from the wet and wild to some serious frozen fun. We now skip over to France for some sophisticated drinkology. Paris is the city of love, where people from around the world come to be embraced by passion. It's also a city filled with history, from the Eiffel Tower to the Arc de Triomphe. There's no shortage of monuments to the past. It's this charmed, storied past and the proliferation of writers' cafes that attracted the lost generation to Paris. Comprised of American writers like F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ezra Pound, it also included the man who coined the term that described them all, Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway's favorite haunt was what continues to be one of Paris's most famous sights, the Hotel Ritz Paris. One of the top hotels on the planet, the Ritz boasts a bar that was frequented by the American writer and is today named in his honor. Bar Hemingway, ÜberGuide's fourth pick on our list of legendary bars. The Ritz embodies class and sophistication. The founder of the hotel, Caesar Ritz, described it as the height of elegance, luxury, and refinement.
Well, if you like being spoiled, of course, the Ritz is it. No wish is too big or too small.
Located on the Place Vendôme, one of the most stunning plazas in the city, the Ritz has a star-studded pedigree. It's where fashion designer Coco Chanel lived for nearly 40 years. Her suite can now be had for a price.
Of course, you have the part of the history. And the part of the history which is different from a museum is when you go to the museum, you usually look at the piece of art, you enjoy it for a few minutes, and you move on to the next one. But what happens in Coco Chanel suite is actually you end up living the spirit of the suite. You're part of it, which makes this is a priceless and one-of-a-kind experience.
But for bar seekers, the Ritz offers the ultimate treat, with plenty of star factor all its own. Bar Hemingway.
I just think it's the best bar in Europe. This really is where Hemingway and the other expatriate American artists and writers used to come in the 20s and 30s to drink. And it still has that vibe.
Forbes magazine has ranked Bar Hemingway as the best in the world.
The Hemingway bar is in the back of the hotel. It's very cozy and named after Hemingway because, of course, he used to go there all the time.
It is said that he went in during the retreat of the Nazis in 1944, and that he actually stood there and ordered a drink while you could hear the firing, the rounds going off in the streets.
The bar honors Hemingway with more than just his name on the door. Hemingway's favorite drink, a single malt whiskey, is served liberally, as are tapas from his beloved Spain. Who's responsible for ensuring you have a fabulous time here? A man who's been voted the world's best bartender.
They have a wonderful bartender called Colin Field, who's an English gentleman, and he is just a master at what he does.
The Hemingway bar where we are now is a bar that goes back to 1921 and is an institution in France. It's one of those bars that one must visit. You'll see some bars where you have lots of things on the walls that mean absolutely nothing. Here, every single piece of photo memorabilia has a real meaning in this bar. And what I've done is really bring what was already here out closer to the public, and then all of a sudden you see this absolutely marvelous historical monument to the bar and the Ritz.
If you're being waited on by one of the top bartenders on the planet, then it goes without saying that you should order one of the planet's most expensive cocktails, the Ritz Sidecar.
Cognac. Top of Cointreau. And just a hand-squeezed lemon, which is my own small touch. 1921, London, the Sidecar.
A sidecar will whack you for over $500. It may be uber expensive, but that's why Bar Hemingway is uber awesome. If you have an insatiable desire for fabulous drinks and want to relax in a sophisticated, classy environment with some history, then ÜberGuide's fourth pick on our bar countdown, Bar Hemingway, will definitely do the trick. Our next stop is Belgium. Per capita beer consumption in this tiny European country is amongst the highest in the world. This means there's no shortage of outlets to quench your thirst. Belgium's love affair with beer is well over 1,000 years old. The Gauls, ancestors of today's Belgians, were the first to use wooden barrels to store it.
Beer making in Belgium is part of our culture, our society, our traditions. We have been making beers for many centuries, and you see that people really love their beer, their special beers.
It's true, Belgium is known for its beer. That is the place to go if you love beer, and you can get any type of beer, from lagers to fruit-flavored ales.
You have more than 700-800 beers in Belgium. You have the most choice and diversity in Belgium, that for sure.
Known as the Venice of the North, the Belgian city of Bruges is where De Haveman, one of the country's oldest breweries, is situated.
Haveman is an old brewery. It's here for many centuries already. It's the last brewery in the town, still brewing in the center of Bruges.
And the only place outside of the brewery itself where you can buy a De Haveman beer? Brug's Biertje, ÜberGuide's #3 pick on our list of legendary bars.
Brug's Biertje is a marvelous bar. You have beer lovers, people willing to discover something new. So it is very interesting for a brewer to meet this audience, to test some new beers in that bar.
You can sample like 300 different beers here. To come here is for some people like a pilgrimage to the heaven of beer, to try them all. Lovely perfume.
You smells the hops.
Must be the hops.
Beer is to Belgians as wine is to the French. It almost becomes an object of art in this special bar.
So refreshing.
Everything in this bar is Belgian. You won't find any foreign liquid served here.
We are very proud to carry the beers here from the local breweries because we support the small local breweries here. This bar really captures the Belgian spirit because you can make a journey through Belgium by the beers. Blondes and darks and ambers. Beers flavored with honey and beers flavored with fruits. There is a beer for every flavor and there's a beer for every taste. If you would come every day, it would take you a year to sample them all.
Stocking over 300 beers is tough enough, but imagine having to supply a different type of glass for each variety of beer. How would you keep track of them all?
Every beer has its own glass and you can recognize the beer by the glass and it should be poured in its own proper glass. It's part of the character and the identity and it's how it should be, how it must be.
With an unsurpassed variety of beers, the patrons come from all over.
I love this place. It's a fantastic bar.
Really friendly. We really enjoy coming here. Been coming here for about 15 years.
300 beers. We're like, well, we better come check this place out. And we come and it's fantastic. Having a good time in Belgium here.
It's so easy to make friends and to talk about things because the beer is always the opener. You look at each other and then, what are you having? Do you like it? And then the conversation goes on.
Lots of people telling us what kind of beer we should be drinking.
The liver is evil and must be punished. It's the best bar in the known and unknown universe as far as I'm concerned, but then again I'm biased, so...
We'll definitely take his word for it. With over 300 beers to choose from and a friendly atmosphere that keeps people coming back, Brug's Biertje captures the essence of what a great bar is all about. And that puts it at #3 on ÜberGuide's Legendary Bar Countdown. Coming up, a glorious bar in San Francisco that inspires some sexy times. Woo! And later, our #1 legendary bar. You won't want to miss what's on top. We're back, enjoying the persistent pleasures of the world's top legendary bars. We've been a bit rowdy, soaked in some tunes, been freezing cold, scorching hot, and ultra posh, but we're still on track and nearly at #1. But first, #2. San Francisco has always had the reputation of a city ready to push the limits. This is where the hippie movement came of age during the Summer of Love, and it's now the center of gay activism in the United States. Due to its tolerant nature, the city is a tourist haven. Visitors come here from around the world to take in the sights and the vibe. The ultimate place to take in a little of that unique Frisco feel? Definitely Harry Denton's Starlight Room, #2 on our Uber list. The Starlight Room makes its home at the top of the Sir Francis Drake Hotel, itself a San Francisco landmark.
Sir Francis Drake, wow. Really cool hotel, very old school. It's a beautiful, quintessential San Francisco building with an opulent decor.
The hotel's charm starts before you even enter the door.
Taxi! Okay, and here you go, sir. I just started my 30th year. I've got a lot of miles out of this uniform. I've run like races in it. I've been to celebrity pole toss with it. And then I've been in parades. My hat's from LA. This is from Canada. My shoes are from Australia. My socks are from San Francisco. This is from London. So I'm upset from all over the world.
During the Prohibition era, the Drake was the only place in town where you could take a sip of the strong stuff.
As a guest, you wanted to experience alcohol as part of your stay. So what they did is the alcohol was brought up here in suitcases and then transported to your room as your groceries, quote, were delivered or your laundry was delivered. Surprise, that's your bottle of whiskey or gin.
But the cherry on top of the sundae that really makes the Drake special? Harry Denton's Starlight Room.
And the Starlight Room is just an amazing place to bring a date or romance that special someone. It's a great place also to meet friends and have champagne.
It's a unique place. I don't know anywhere else like it. It's very romantic and very beautiful, but also because you feel as if you are stepping back in time. Old school glamour mixed with 1970s disco.
Harry Denton's Starlight Room undoubtedly relies on the charisma of its namesake. It just wouldn't be the same without Harry.
There are several things that make me real proud of this bar. You know, it starts from the minute you walk in the door. The staff and the location, and it's elegant, and it's San Francisco, and it's a view. I mean, I'm on top of the world. I mean, what more can you ask? Woo!
A talented man, Denton had a hand in designing several elements of the bar.
You gotta look at the dresses the waitresses wear because I designed them. When the girls walk through the room, that extra material in the bottom is so sexy, it flows. I get compliments all the time on the dresses. And all women look beautiful in a perfect, sexy black dress. There's the gold fabric, and you can never have too many crystal chandeliers, ever. I have, at home, I have them in my bathroom, kitchen, I have them everywhere. Sex sells. Bottom line, I mean, the whole world thinks in the crotch, so I just, as sexy as I can make things, the better.
There's no question the Starlight Room is San Francisco's night spot for the rich and famous.
Everybody loves their picture in the wall, and this says, I have a lot of fun with this. Sugar Ray Leonard, George Clooney was here, and women were handing him notes right and left. Women and men in this town, it was great. And here up top, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger. He wasn't married then, and that's all I can say. Well, these pictures, as you'll notice, are right next to the ladies' room. So, you know, let's tease them. This one's a legitimate model. This one can be had for the right amount. Well, the Harry Denton Suite.
If your pocketbook permits, the Drake Suite honoring the host is definitely a gas.
If you want style, class.
I'm on top of the world. I'm so lucky.
Starlight Room.
I'm humble and all that, but I mean, it's the classiest, most luxurious nightclub in San Francisco. I'm very proud to say that.
Harry Denton's Starlight Room in San Francisco's Drake Hotel. Number 2 on our Super Bar Countdown. After the break, the old is new again. One of the oldest bars in New York City reveals its secrets as we reveal ours. The #1 legendary bar in the world is next. Welcome back to the show. ÜberGuide is counting down the top 10 legendary bars this planet has ever seen. We've observed some pretty sweet places so far, but nothing tops where we're about to go next. It goes without saying that New York City should have a saloon scene second to none, and Gotham hits the mark in spades. The #1 bar in the city? Well, it's also #1 on ÜberGuide's list of legendary bars, the 21 Club, the ultimate place on the planet to wet your whistle. The 21 Club is both a restaurant and bar. It opened its doors for the first time to the who's who of New York back in 1930.
From the get-go, it was quite a well-heeled crowd. We were known to have the best champagnes, the finest Bordeaux's, great cigars, and wonderful food.
It was actually a really bad time to open a restaurant like this. And when you consider Prohibition, you can't serve any liquor at all. And the Depression, like no one has any money to spend.
An officially certified speakeasy, it served alcohol illegally.
First you came to the front door and there was a bell there. If they didn't recognize you, they would ring the bell and people would scatter.
If they got raided, they could hide the evidence. They could sweep the bottles off the bar and it would go down a chute into the New York City sewers.
And the federal agents came in because, you know, J. Edgar Hoover wanted nothing more than to catch someone famous at 21. They spent 15 or 18 hours combing through the place. They never found a single drop of liquor.
Famous regulars included actor Humphrey Bogart.
Bogart and Lauren Bacall had their first date here, and then he ended up proposing to her here in the bar room.
Bogart was a big regular. We have a brass plaque behind his table. Quite a few stories of him having a very good time here.
I remember reading lists of the guests. You can't imagine a restaurant in Hollywood or New York having that many Hollywood celebrities in the room in one night.
Today, the history of the 21 Club starts on the ceiling. Yes, the ceiling.
We have the original pool cue from The Hustler, you know, John McEnroe's tennis racket. We have JFK gave us a PT boat, Frank Gifford's football helmet, Arnold Palmer's golf club.
They call them toys, which I find very funny because they're toys for big boys. They're not little kid toys, and they're the kind of toys the Sotheby's would like very much to auction off right now because they're some of the most priceless artifacts you could probably get.
The first toy was given to us by Howard Hughes, model of the Spruce Goose, and so Howard Hughes gets his toy on the ceiling, and every other wheeler dealer in New York wants to get their toy on the ceiling.
You look at the ceiling and you know that there's so many incredible stories, and you just can sit there and sort of imagine these fabulous people that, you know, all these toys went up because of, and why they meant something to them.
A lot of bars have memorabilia. It's usually a nice word for a lot of dusty crap on the walls, but at 21 it's like real memorabilia that's priceless and quite unique. That is the pedigree of 21 that makes it so different from any other place in New York and really in the world.
A lineup of jockeys greets you just outside the front door. The first one was given to the club by the Vanderbilts. Inside, the walls are covered in Western-style art, a pastime that began with the original owners. But for a bar to be successful, it needs a little more than cool memorabilia on the ceiling and walls. The drinks have to be the tops, and there's no doubt they are here.
21 Club is probably the best place to go in New York if you want a classic cocktail.
Mirko, the daytime bartender, has been here for almost 20 years. You know, knows how to coddle guests, knows what a lot of people like. The regulars come in and he's got the drink already being, you know, it's already prepared by the time they get to the bar. That makes it pretty special.
If you want a perfectly made cocktail, if you want it served exquisitely, if you want a meal that's probably one of the best meals of your life, you can come here.
The booze is stored downstairs.
All right, just watch your step going down.
In the very same secret wine cellar that stumped the feds so long ago.
You can imagine there were a series of these alcoves that went the whole way down the wall. This is the key. It's a meat skewer. If you listen closely, snaps the lock.
The hidden door weighs 2.5 tons. And on the other side of this massive entrance, perhaps the finest collection of wine in the world.
They have an exquisite wine cellar, 20,000 bottles down there.
In this area is where we store a lot of the private stock. And we have wines from President Richard Nixon, we have Elizabeth Taylor, quite a collection of private stock down here. And watch your step into the section 17.
Once you make your way through the wine cellar, you'll find yourself in the most uber-exclusive dining room on the planet.
So as you can see, this is a private room.
It's a gorgeously appointed room. It's a very, very unique dining experience.
And that is where Mayor Jimmy Walker would bring his lady friends. And during one of the raids, he made the call to the police department, and he had all the federal agents' cars towed.
With a history like this, it's no surprise that the 21 Club still caters to New York's creme de la creme.
We have a lot of regulars, a lot of powerful New Yorkers who come in, governors and mayors and senators and, you know, actors.
The upper levels of New York society, the people on the national scene, it's never fallen off the radar socially. It's one of the biggest power lunches in New York. And you look around the room, it's like the pages of the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times come to life.
People are friendly and it's a fun fun, festive environment. They treat me like a family member. It's wonderful.
I am made to feel like I am as important as anybody else here, and that makes a lot of difference to me.
People are kind of close together, and they strike up conversations with their neighbors, and it's just a grand old party.
There is quite simply no other tavern anywhere on Earth that can match what the 21 Club has to offer, which is why it's #1 on our uber legendary bar list. We've scoured up, down, and all around to find some trippin' night spots, terrific taverns, and beer joints second to none. From superstar cocktails to super fine wine, we've downed the best. Everything you could ever want at a bar. Yes, we've found it. And now you know it. This has been ÜberGuide's countdown of the world's top legendary bars.